Hey guys, welcome back, Attack. I'm Skylent, and I want to give you my first impression, my first look here at Atlas Reactor. This is not a full review, but I am going to critique the game, and it's going to be done in a review format, but it's not a full review, you know, just disclaimer, the game's not out yet. If you want a chance to play the game, it's going to have an open weekend from the 13th to the 15th. However, before I start this, I should mention some things, okay? For one, Atlas Reactor is no longer going to be a free-to-play game, so if that completely and entirely turns you off, you only play free-to-play games, well, see you later, guys. But if you want to stay tuned for the rest of the video, I'll tell you what I like and what I don't like about the game. But one thing I do want to mention is that I do not like that it is no longer free-to-play. I don't like that it's going to cost money. In fact, if it costs any bit of money, even $5, it's just like the principle of it. It's all of a sudden going to have significantly less players playing the game, which means the whole player community is going to feel a lot smaller. It's not going to be as social. And for certain games, this works out. Is it going to work out for Atlas Reactor? I'm unsure. Whenever I'm playing the game right now, and this footage that you're seeing is from the free-to-play edition of the game. So they have all these skins, they have a way to purchase currency, like with real money, so that you can unlock these different characters and skins. However, the way it's going to be changed is that you'll basically have every character unlocked, and you will eventually be able to, through achievements and stuff, like in Overwatch, be able to get the skins. Unless they still do have the currency thing and you can buy skins, then that would make me feel really weird because you're spending money to buy the game. I don't know. It doesn't work for every game. It could work for Atlas Reactor if they continuously add characters. I'm unsure. We'll have to see, but basically, guys, it's no longer free to play, but I am playing on the free-to-play version. However, I did get to play with a couple of characters. You're just going to see content from one character, though, just some quick gameplay, because, in my opinion, I didn't deem this game worthy enough to spend any large amount of time with. Unlike Dreadnought, recently I just did a first impression on Dreadnought. Had a lot of fun with that game. I played it a lot, even though I did a live first impression here on this channel. I ended up streaming it a crap ton, actually, on twitch.tv/Skylent. I had a lot of fun with Dreadnought, but Atlas Reactor doesn't quite capture me in that way. Now, I am a big fan of tactics multiplayer games like Feria, like Duelist, and ever since I played Final Fantasy Tactics, I've always wanted to play like a team version, you know, a PvP team version of those kind of games. And you don't really see like 2v2, 3v3, or, you know, full-on team versions of these tactical games. And board games, you know, generally, it doesn't really come like this. Chess is probably the closest, and I don't know, you could do some weird rules with chess, maybe like 2v2, I don't know. Anyways, basically, you don't really get tactical gameplay in a team setting. You just don't. It's generally like MOBAs are the closest, 2v2 with RTSs. You don't get 5v5 tactical gameplay like you do with Atlas Reactor. Plus, they have really cool characters, really cool pieces to their little board that they have here. And the actual like battlegrounds, the boards themselves, the different maps, seem kind of interesting to me too. However, when you actually get into these characters, they seem kind of cliche, kind of usual. I'm not saying the graphics don't look good, but the overall art style and everything really reminds me of like take XCOM and mix it in between with Overwatch, and mechanically, you know, something kind of similar too. All the characters have generally like 4 abilities, and they're kind of archetypal characters. Like you have a tank, you have your sort of scout recon sniper, which is the character I'm playing. You have your run and gunner. You have these archetypal characters, which is understandable. And they kind of look weird, right? It seems like this game tried to make an attempt to make some sort of like a semblance of unique characters with like their cat biofueled thing. I don't know really. They have a turtle sniper. Like I don't know. There's some character to this game, but I think a lot of Trion games' stuffs, the MMOs, their like production value, their characters, their world setting, the lore, like everything they do is good. It's not bad. It's just like short of greatness, and that's how I feel with this game too. The characters are, you know, short of being actually truly unique like we see in Overwatch. And like the mechanics also are kind of cool. For instance, they run on different phases, which is something that we're kind of used to in card games like Magic the Gathering, how you have different phases. But other than that, there's not too many abilities between any individual character. And you have to remember, this is a team game. It's 5 players, so you're only gonna control one character. So in a MOBA, there's real-time differences, and there's real-time tactical playmaking, and the characters are really in-depth. It's got 4 abilities, a passive, you have the itemization, you know, so you have like 6 items, you have the 4 abilities, sometimes passives, and how that meshes all with the different characters in real time. So there's a lot of tactical complexity in MOBA. But this game is not a real-time action MOBA. It's a tactics game. It's a turn-based tactics game. So even if you have the complexity of the different phases, the actual complexity of the different characters are about the complexity, or even less than some MOBA characters. So why am I just playing a single character? Now, if it was one player controlling the whole team, you know, if it was one player controlling all 5 members versus another player who controlled all 5 members, then maybe we can start to see where the game would take shape. Similar to Duelist, how you have the card and deck building mechanics there, and Faria. But since you're only controlling one character, I was really disappointed with the amount of depth that each character had. I mean, sure, there's, you know, there are archetypes, and you can play to those archetypes, but they're not really in-depth. There's not too much creativity with this game that you can do. There's not too much playmaking. But anyways, I guess we'll go in-depth with the different phases. So basically, to balance out the game, it's essentially, as you have to think about it like this. Think about the game. It does work in turns, okay? But whenever the turn sort of flips over, it activates. Everything kind of happens all at once, except you have preparation abilities, which happen first, technically. Then you have dash abilities. So if you want to dash, like charge in, leap, or jump away or something, that's gonna happen second. So you have prep abilities and then charge abilities. So if you happen to charge into a prepped mine, you will explode. Next, then you have blast. Blast abilities, they are basically like your general damage abilities. These are gonna happen kind of last, but they all, like, even though it shows like everything is happening in a sequence, it's really all happening at once during those different phases. So even if you were to die, if you still haven't launched your blast attack, you will launch the blast attack. It's just at the end of the turn, then you die. You get it? So the phase thing, the whole phase technology mechanic is interesting. I think it makes it balanced. But in the end, I understand why they might want to try to have done something that's not a usual MOBA. But if you're gonna make a game, give it more tactical, at least tactical complexity in the tactics genre, because that's technically what it is. It's not an RTS, it's not a MOBA. It takes, you know, some elements from MOBAs, but it's trying to bring it into, like, you know, the whole tactics concept, but without actually giving us more tactics or strategy, for that matter. Like MOBAs have itemization. In League of Legends has the whole rune system. Now, I will say, Atlas Reactor, the customization they have with the character is basically like you can kind of choose and tune different abilities. Like, certain abilities can be tuned so that maybe they do a little bit more damage, or maybe they take less resource. But then of course, you know, there's mixing and matching. Like if it takes less resource, it's gonna do less damage. You know, stuff like that. I think that's kind of interesting. That's kind of cool, but I would much rather have had it so that instead of every character only having 4 abilities, maybe every character had 8 abilities. And I'm not counting moving. And I know you can move every turn, and there is some tactical decisions to make, like which ability to use, when to move, where to move, and if you even want to do an action at all, sometimes you just want to move, so you move a little bit further. I understand that. I'm not saying Atlas Reactor is a completely shallow game. It's just, if you have less content, you know, you're a tactics game, and if you have less tactics than a non-tactic game, like, I know it's a MOBA, it's real time, so there needs to be a little bit of takeaway from strategy, from tactics, because it's real time, you have to actually mechanically pursue things. It just kind of sucks that in a tactics game, I have less tactical weight with my decisions, and it just seems kind of pointless that it's a 5v5 game, and now it kind of worries me. This is where I'm going to bring it back to the free-to-play, because it's a 5v5 game where, honestly, it's a little bit dull unless you are an absolute fanatical about the world, the characters, or the mechanics, it's a niche game. It's actually, that is the reason why they are not doing free-to-play, because it is a niche game. So, okay, it's a little bit boggling of my mind at least, but now you're going to have not many people playing the game already, just because of the type of game it is. And then it's going to be buy to play, which is probably going to earn them more money than, I guess, if they went free to play. Maybe they know that they are making a niche game and not many people are going to play it. So this is going to make them the most amount of money so that they can, you know, build upon the game and do what they want. But it's just, as a player, I understand they need to make the money, they need to make the decision that's best for them. But as a player, I want to play with the most players. I want the game to last as long as possible and have the most rich, and just have I want everybody to play the game, okay? And this is the kind of game that I personally don't plan to buy. I don't plan to play it consistently. And it just kind of sucks because I kind of do want to play it sometimes. I just won't be able to do that. And it's going to be very hard to convince friends and stuff to purchase into this game because it is so niche. It's so weird. I just know. I just know it's not for me. That's my completely biased first impression. But I will say, for those who are fans of tactics genres, I think Faeria is awesome. I think Duelist is also really cool, though they're technically tactical card games. There's also some really interesting games like Legion TD, which is like a tower defense competitive game. But for team-based tactical gameplay, I just don't see this game in particular being sort of like the champion of the genre. I could see something like Endless Legend or the Endless series coming out with a tactical co-op experience or team PvP-based experience. I think that'd be really cool. Or something that maybe blends 4Xs together, so it's like a competitive 4X title that's, you know, faster paced. Atlas Reactor, it just seems like a really dumbed down version, which is the exact opposite. I need a tactics game. Take a tactics game and then like amp up the tactics that are in the game. You know, the mechanical choices that you can make, you know, the decisions, strategic and tactical. Amp that up 5 times, and then you are allowed to add in team-based 5v5. But right now, as it is, it's really dull. You don't have too many decisions. And if this was a 1v1 game, actually, you know, this game might actually be saved if they make it a 1v1 game. If there is an option, like maybe the default casual game mode is, you know, one player controls one character, but I think I really think the competitive version should be 1v1. I mean, that's just my opinion. It just seems like this game is incredibly simple and dumbed down. But maybe I'm just stupid, and remember, this is just a first impression. Maybe I've only scratched the surface, but I've played it for a couple of matches now, and that's just kind of the feeling that I've got. Hopefully you understand that. Remember, not a full review. I'm Skylent. Thanks for watching. If you like my beautiful voicing, my channel at Skylent Games, or my Twitch at twitch.tv/Skylent, or like and subscribe here. Always here, having fun. And hopefully, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Welcome back, Attack, and today we're going to be talking about 2016's best MMORPGs. These are going to be the new MMO games that we get to experience, at least in the West. Yes, some of these games are going to be localized titles, but for the most part, these are going to be entirely new MMOs, so get hyped for that. And these are going to be the games that we are almost certain will actually launch in 2016. But with that in mind, let's go ahead, jump right into it, starting at number 10.